Um, yeah, obviously a bit disappointed that we were maybe not able to get at least a point from the game. I don't know, from a neutral point of view, I thought it was a good football match. I thought it was, us trying to negate them taking total and full control of the match. Just allowing them to dictate and build up without trying to apply pressure and trying to sort of disrupt their build up pattern. So I thought we executed it fairly well. It's not always possible. They're just good enough individually and decision makers and execution that you can't always stop it. But I felt that, we did ask them enough questions, whereas they normally control matches a lot higher up the pitch. I felt that we took a lot of that away from them, although there were moments, obviously, where they do get high up the pitch that they did control, but it wasn't as much as they normally do. We're a little bit unlucky now and then with just interceptions, just a little bit here and there, nicking the ball off them, and then a free kick being given, and then we lost that moment. So I thought, especially first half, it was a really good tactical battle. We know Sundowns are a good enough team that they will create chances. You cannot play against a team of their caliber without them getting in behind and having combination around your box. It was just about seeing those moments out, suffering a little bit in those situations, knowing that if we can see that out, we'll have moments where we can perhaps look to transition and maybe catch them. But they know that, so they're obviously well coached. Whether it be tactical fouling, whether it be just discipline and defense, making sure that there's always two players. And I think we're playing well enough as a team and showing that we're starting to get the respect of even a team like Sundowns. So when they start playing sort of players and positions to negate what your strengths are, and then to bring on two centre backs at the end of the game. But obviously, the penalty miss is massive. I mean, against a team of their caliber, you don't get too many opportunities. So when you do get opportunity from the penalty spot, then you don't score. Already a tough task becomes even tougher. So it would have been interesting to see how the game panned out had we taken the lead. Obviously they're desperate to finish the season unbeaten. They would have had to really come out at us to get themselves back in the game, and then maybe. But as long as they were sort of not 1-0, they manage situations well. They manage games well. We've played them twice in the last sort of 2 weeks. A lot of lessons learned, um, and also just realizing that there's very very fine margins in football. Um, a blatant kick off the ball on Jaden doesn't get given. From there, they go score. We miss a penalty. Those are fine lines that sort of you don't deal with. The previous game, Fawaz Basadin injured. They just the experience that they've gained in the continent. They just know how to handle those situations. So when you play Sundowns, for me lately, obviously us going into the continent is to learn to see how they do, and you can see they've got that experience, and we may not have that experience in certain situations. So it's a learning curve for us. But yeah, I think if we just continue doing what we're doing, we can start closing the gap on a team like them. I don't think we're close to even coming sort of matching them, but I think if you aim to close a gap on a team like Sundowns, you will improve yourself and get hopefully yourself away from the others in the league. But yeah, a tactical battle today, fine margins. They're a really good team. Caused us some problems defensively. We're hanging on a bit at times, but it's not as if we didn't create our half chances ourselves. So a little bit unlucky, maybe not to get the sort of a equalizer. So yeah, playing the game and then realizing sort of obviously being updated with the other result. It was a situation. Listen, we just try and get a point or win it. It's if the scoreline with Pirates was going to stay the same, whether we got a point or lost wasn't going to make the biggest difference. It's still in our own hands. But yeah, I don't think one will get three lifelines in 3 weeks. So it's our responsibility next week to win a football match against Richards Bay, which would then turn out to be a really, really incredible season.
Coach, the last time you played them, you spoke of the importance of depth. Today, you obviously also identified experience. as one of the things that maybe your team needs to improve going into CAF next season. But just other than those two, where else do you think your team will need to make strides?
I think mentality-wise is going to be also key. I think we have to be prepared for the unknown. We have to be prepared for what's going to be thrown at us. So I know the question was asked to Rhulani if we'd asked him for help. We have already, not from a footballing side of things, but from a logistic side of thing and how to approach certain things. I don't know whether we'll be able to charter planes and send chefs ahead in advance, but there are certain things that we can learn, and it would be unwise for us not to speak to a team like Sundowns from a footballing point of view on and off the field. I think one can just see how they've sort of matured as a group of players. They know how to win, and once you know how to win, you become a difficult team to play against. So yeah, we depth is key. Um, Michael Morton's doing well these days on Facebook. There, he's got some interesting facts and stuff. So according to him, so I'm speaking under correction, that no Sundowns players started more than 20 matches in the DStv Premiership. If I look at my squad, there's players that have been playing 30 games, 28, 29. Although they have other competitions where they do play, that's sort of one of the things that we may have to be really mindful of is the amount of travel matches you play, especially if you advance to the group stages, and then still the ability to then compete on the local front. So we're having good strategic meetings, planning around that, and yeah, but we need to find sort of all areas. We need to like depth of the squad, bring in the quality to be competitive at that level, and learn quick and learn fast.
Coach, just on that mentality plan, what you just explained now, you've played 3 matches, you haven't scored, you haven't won a game. Is it a matter of fatigue towards the end of the season to the players? What would you attribute that to? And the second question would be, who do you think will be the coach of the season? Based on you, just your views.
Yeah, I think on your first question, there is an element of fatigue. I mean, we've played every single match the South African football offers except the final of the MTN and the Nedbank with a small squad. Um, Antonio van Wyk this morning woke up and was feeling a knock from yesterday's training, so he had to pull himself out. So I brought in Rhulani Mini, which leaves only two other players not in the squad today. Um, Look at Sundown squad, how many would be left and that. So a bit of fatigue has crept in, and obviously when you have a 25 unbeaten run broken, you need to pick yourself up quickly. And in those matches, yeah, when a couple of those games are against Sundowns, it makes your record look maybe worse than what it is, but it is what it is. You asked me beginning of the season, last day of the season, you can finish second by winning and beating Richards Bay. I would have taken that. Yeah, and then the second one, Rhulani by a country mile. I mean, they're 22 points ahead of us, and they've got a game in hand. So it's just, yeah, he deserves it. To keep a winning team winning, to keep, like you said, it's not easy. It's the respect I have for him and Sundowns is that although they win so much, they still want to win more. And you can become complacent and not really with the leagues in the bag and we've got this. Let's just concentrate on the Nedbank. But they're a proud club. He's built a good, strong mentality amongst them, a winning mentality. So Rhulani deserves it without question.
Coach, you talked about the game that you are improving on. But in my opinion, when I watched you against Sundowns, you looked better in the second half in the cup game. And today you were caught more in a haste and offside more often than not. What could have been the reason? Were the players just anxious to, because they don't touch the ball, they want to get it and put it in the back of
No, it's a lot of things. I think tactically, mentality wise, second half at home in a cup semi final, they leading, so they dropped off a little bit. A much bigger crowd, the atmosphere, a lot of support. We gained a bit of momentum in the second half. Played a lot better, but it's also their sort of decision that they're confident enough that they can see out games at 1-0, and I thought in the final that was the case. And then obviously, they get the second. It makes it even more difficult. We've got nothing to lose, so we just go for it, and we look maybe more pleasing on the eye. But it's also because they sort of dropping off and feel they can manage the game. So we got back to 2-1, and not so. Yeah, today obviously, as I said to you earlier, Marx, is that they're well coached. They play a really good line. We know one of our ways we can maybe ask them questions is the ball over the top. So sometimes it was played a little bit too early and too hasty and too often. But then at the same time, when they're on the halfway line, they've got 10 players in your half, so it's also not easy to play. Um, so you get caught between a bit of a difficult situation. But no, I thought we were good today. I thought the effort was good. I thought in many aspects, we held them, and you can see they're a better team. They're the best team in the league. You can't like hide away from the fact that they just are. But we will get there. We're rising quickly, and we're not going to stop. We're coming.
On that score and with Africa and what you said about the good strategic meetings that you had, will there be a more expansive Stellenbosch squad next season? Is it imperative, in your opinion, that there is not 22 but 25, 30 players to pick from?
It will be, Mark. It's just getting the balance right of how many of our sort of really talented DDC players, form part of our squad, and also then obviously strengthening in certain areas. So at this stage, we will be a bigger squad. It's just getting a really good balance of between economics of the game. So yeah, you can say we want a bigger squad, but that costs you a lot of money. So it's just getting a good balance of getting a more rounded squad. You don't want to go to play in Africa and you're leaving 4 players back. What do 4 players do? Can they train? Probably tough. So if you go, you want to have at least 8 to 12 players that are back and doing their thing. So we will increase the numbers of the squad. Yes.
Yes, coach. I want to know something. It's not affecting your plans to lose some players. Like last season, we lose more players. Like now we have players like Van Rijn, all those guys, JJ Adams, with those rumors, Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns, and one. So now we are going to the CAF. So how is your plans now for next
Look, obviously I get asked this question over and over and over, and I never have definitive answers because I don't know what the future holds. But the better you become as a football club, um, winning cups and being second, players making Bafana, their value from there goes to here. So if clubs are going to want to come and look for players, I don't think it's going to be as easy as it was in the past. Number one, because from an economic and financial point of view, if you've got players sitting on the bench for Sundowns that were costing 40 million, what reason is it that Jaden Adams is not worth that, maybe more? I need answer. If Sundowns do, then they have to dig deep. That's the one thing. The second thing is Jaden's got ambitions to play in Europe. I think he's at the age where going to Europe would be better in his interest. So I would advise him to rather consider that than local. You don't want him going to Sundowns and ending up playing 13, 14 league matches in a season. So it's going to be more difficult for teams, and because the stock of the players is a lot higher, they're far more valuable, and they're playing in Africa, and we weren't playing in Africa before. We weren't maybe challenging enough to win trophies. Now you've won a trophy, you're playing in Africa, so it's more difficult for them to just be, yeah, we want this one, we want that one, we want this one. It'll be tough. So we're confident that we can retain our squad. There may be a single a situation here or there that we would have to maybe consider. But right now, as we sit here, there's no talk, no offers, no one is for sale, nothing whatsoever currently.
Coach, just a quick one on Jaden again, in terms of his positioning today, which also surprised Rhulani from what he said. Just educate us a little bit in terms of your thinking going into that game and positioning him more left.
Yeah, a little bit tongue in cheek. I like making it difficult for Sundowns in terms of preparation because they plan really well and they do their homework on you. So when you do something a little bit different, it knocks them a little bit off. And we just felt that based on our previous game, they were just hurting us too much in the middle, especially with Ronald Williams' passes. So we felt a little bit to have more sort of consolidate more in the midfield. Again, not having all the numbers, we also felt that depending on the scoreline of Pirates, we need to maybe have some real oomph off the bench. We really have to go for it. So Antonio van Wyk and Ura were sort of that plan. So let's start with maybe a little bit more conservative. I felt that if we stayed in the game long, their sort of desire to hold on to unbeaten record, they might start getting a bit nervous. And we could do that. So and then just let Jaden play a little bit of a different free type role, and to see how they coped with it. So if he says it was a bit difficult, then I'm glad. But whatever you do, you have to play well to beat Sundowns, and you have to have a bit of luck. So we just didn't have too much luck today.
Coach Tabo Moloisane, I mean, just on his rise and how you've improved him in the recent call up to the preliminary squad, and also just with him being in the national team, it also just sort of proves that he's amongst the candidates for the defender of the season. When you look at the fact that the other team with a better defensive record does not have defenders who play much like Sundowns. I think neither of their defenders has played more than 15, 16 games, which makes it like really difficult to then give the award to them. Just on those.
Yeah, I think if Ishmael Ture and Tabo Moloswani aren't one of the candidates, I would be highly disappointed and surprised. I think both of them have had really solid, good seasons, played in almost every match that they've been available. So yeah, it's between the two of them, I definitely feel that at least one, if not both, should be in that conversation. So hopefully there will be. Tabo's been excellent, superb. He's got himself in the preliminary squad, and again today I thought he was outstanding. A former product of Sundowns, so nice to see him now playing regularly after being relegated with Maritzburg and to have the season that he's had. So I'm very happy for him and very proud.
Just this season, coach, when you look back, the cup final, now you're fighting for number 2, might be CAF Champions League or Confederations Cup. What is the difference between last season and this season that you've worked on that you think next season you might need to add?
Look, I need to be honest with you. When we lost players like Junior Mendieta, we lost players like Mtetwa, Makanya, and Gomazulu. To name a few, I was a bit worried because when you do recruitment, we trust what we do, but you only rarely get the final answers, and you see once the season gets going. So we started the season a little bit on the back foot. We beat Pirates the first game of the season, and then it was a sort of a loss to Polokwane, and then semi-final of the MTN again at Pirates, 2 matches. We had 1 or 2 poor results. A lot to do with losing players, red cards, Super Sport and Swallows. So after 8 games, we were not really in a good space, and that took a while to figure out. Toure coming in, Ura coming in, Tabu coming in, Janino Palace coming in, Salifu coming in, to sort of figure out what their capabilities. And once we found it, we clicked and we had. So I think it was, if I had to put one finger on one of the things, is I think our recruitment was really good. If you look at all those players, they've had really good seasons. They've added value, they've played minutes. So they've come in and made a big difference. Obviously, with Daryl Macheke and KG was also added to the squad, and in the short time that they were there, they also added value. So I think our recruitment was really good. That's one of the big reasons I think we've had the season that we've had.
Thank
you.
Last one from my side, I have to ask this one. From history taught us from Platinum Stars and your Mapumakalas that when you're not experienced, having to judge things can go south. How are you going to work around it? How are you going to be Tom across this team?
The best way, Marks, is plan, and plan more, and know that it's going to be tough. Don't be naive, and trust in what you do. This football club has had a remarkable rise. It was nice to win the Diski, be second, So in other words, don't be complacent. Don't think that we've arrived. There's a lot to do. So I just trust in our sort of management, the technical staff, support staff, that it will be difficult, but we'll be fine.
Thank you very much,